Chautauqua very late. It's English a half length in front. Can he do it? Chautauqua, he's flying. Yes, there's history. Chautauqua makes it 3 in a row.
Hello and welcome to the Pure Punters podcast. I'm Jared Smith, joined here with Mitch Cook, and together we're going to bring you all the hot tips from around this world. Four-legged, two-legged, if it flies or if it walks, we are on it. Mitch, it's good to have you finally here.
Good to meet you, mate. It's been a long time in the making. We've won lots of money in the making. We've lost lots of money in the making, but had a pretty damn good time doing it.
It has. Lockdowns finally got the better of us, and two blokes have finally started a podcast. Look, let's get into it. That's it. Let's get into it. Let's get the punters to know us a bit. Let's see. What's your biggest win on the punt, you reckon?
Flashbacks to 2016, Brazil. It was actually the night before my birthday. Decided to put a round one surfing multi on, to no one's surprise, because that's every event. Woke up in the morning to realise instead of putting $10 on, I'd only put $1 on. Picked the whole round at $1,251 to one. Stoked to won $1,000, but that extra kind of $11,000 payout would have been quite nice had I not been half asleep when I put it on. So I blame that on Travis Logie and also the time zone in Brazil.
Travis Logie, there's a blast from the past. Look, I've got to say mine. You know I'm fond of a horse bet. You know I love the Golden Slipper. It'll be 2018. We were down at the Slipper, bunch of Kiwis and myself. The six of us there up in the Slipper Club. Myself and a mate of mine, Blackie. He's just as big a degenerate as I am. We had a $200 all up together for the first 3 legs of Slipper Day. I remember Avantage paid $6, and we turned that money into $4,500. Not the biggest money win, but it definitely felt the best. But there's been a lot of losers in between.
I'm sure Blackie made light work of that on the taxi ride home.
Mate, that man is a machine, I tell you that. Look, what about your biggest loss? Like, you know, we're only as good as our biggest loss.
As far as biggest heartbreak, I don't know about biggest loss, but biggest heartbreak would have to be myself and you down at Rose Hill last year, maybe the year before. Don't know, COVID's kind of gone for 50 years, it feels like. Christmas Day, decided to load up a nice little multi at 100 to 1. Got through every leg throughout the day, which seemed like the tough legs. Good old Pikey in the last over in Belmont. Only heading to place, riding a $1.80 horse. It was $1.20 from memory to place. I don't know where we were, mate. Somewhere in downtown King's Cross. Pretty much thought it was a sure thing. Already ordered the drinks to celebrate. As usual, didn't come forth. So 100 to 1 gone. Should have just took the winnings and cashed out and off we went. But here we are.
Yeah, my memories are forgotten that one altogether after that night, but that's okay. I reckon another one for me though, Slipper Day again. It'd be 2019. The year before we had the quaddie going for 20 grand, 100%. The last leg, and we left Tommy Berry out, and we said, "Oh shit! Like Berry's in shit hot form. He won the Slipper that day. Long behold, Berry wins." So no matter what, next year we're going to have Berry in the last leg. Anyways, quaddie rolls around, 10 of us around the table, all put our selections in. I think it was $1,200 we put on for the quaddie. We had 100% of it. First 3 legs, and 30 to 1 winner. I think it was Crone actually, the Tony Gollan horse, before it transferred up north. But long story short, come down to the last leg. Long behold, who didn't we put in the quaddie? Tommy Berry. Quaddie pays about 13,000. We're just 10 grown blokes sitting there with our hands in our head before the race even started. And 200 to go, Berry comes down the outside and wins by 2. So that's all right. Hopefully, though, we can make up for those losses with you guys now. And what do you reckon? We jump right into this weekend's racing?
Yeah, let's get to it, mate. Let's go for it.
Like, we're back at Kembla. It's moved the Rose Hill races to Kembla, which is a bit tricky with a small track. There's a lot of horses.
If I was COVID as well, I probably wouldn't head out to Kembla myself. So
yeah,
I'm blaming it.
We'll keep that in the west. Look, we've got some really shit hot races. We've got the Theo Marks and we've got the Run to the Rose. And some really good 3-year-olds in the Run to the Rose here. Some just trying to make this career at stud. But what do you reckon? We start with the Theo Marks over 1,300?
Yeah, yep. Let's get straight into it, mate.
Yeah. So look, we got last start winner in the favourite, Private Eye at 360. Great first up run. I did not back it though. I was on the Waterhouse horse. Joe Pride Stable's absolutely flying at the moment, as you know. He's just anything he touches turns to gold at the moment, just because he's that good at placing his horses in the right race. I think at $3.60, there's going to be a shit hot speed with Big Parado, the second favourite, and Discharge. I think they'll both roll forward. The thing Private Eye has against it is coming from well back in the field. And as we just said, you know, Kembla's not that big of a track, so you sort of need to be off the bit after the turn, not before it, because you don't have a big wind-up. I think Rahiran, like, look, you know what it's like. You love a Godolphin horse, 5 from 5 first up. I think that's going to be its biggest trouble, is coming from well back. It'll just be if Private Eye can lob the back of a horse who's going to cart it into the race. But at $3.60, I'm well and truly going to have a bet at that. Have you got a bet in that race at all?
Yeah, look, mate. I'd love to go against you. It's one of my favourite things to do, but I got to agree. As you know, I'm a very big sucker for ice bath, but the track just looks too dry for my liking. I like it to get a little bit of wet on the ground. Yeah, I've looked far and wide. Rahiran, again, I wouldn't mind a bit more moisture in the ground. I've led back to exactly where you are in Private Eye. I think she's the one to beat, and can't quite figure out why it's not favourite over Big Parade. So I'm going to take it while it's still out at $3.60.
Yeah, $3.60. That's the thing. It's all about trying to get you guys the best price. And $3.60, a horse who's 2 from 2 second up after a really good first up win on similar kind of ground. It's just the fact if it can get that card into the race on the smaller track. But I think Private Eye at 360 is a pretty good bet there. What do you got up next, Mitch? What's the next one we're going to dissect?
We will head to race 8, mate. They're under the Rose. So over 1,200, as we just touched on, still a good track. We've got Macca on the favourite, very short price. Does look the one to beat. It's been crunched already. It opened at $3, crunched into $2.40. For me, this one, I'm not going to have a bet. I do think Animo is the one to beat. Stay Inside's the lean. If I was forced, gun to my head, have a bet, I'd probably take the value on Stay Inside at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to sit back and probably watch them to fight it out to finish line. How about yourself, mate?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting race. Like these 3-year-olds, they come back as a good 3-year-old after a stellar 2-year-old season. Like Stay Inside, yes, it failed first up. I think both being out for such a long time and the small track to kick off at Kembla last start didn't do it any favours. Into the Congo, I actually backed that day and won. And it led from start to finish. But Tim Clark goes to Converge, the other Waterhouse horse in this. So that says a little bit there of what the stable thinks of those two horses against each other. So Tim's riding Converge, and Into the Congo is still. I think it's a good horse, and I think it'll still lead it up. Josh Parr's on that. It's all about Animo. He's hot on everyone's lips. He was the 2-year-old horse last year that didn't win the Slipper, but won everyone's hearts and won a lot of people a bit of money. Really, in the end, went on to get that elusive Group 1, and I think he does take a bit to wind up. And if he gets caught back in traffic on that small track, I don't know if he gets the same run as Stay Inside will. Stay Inside should be that 1 or 2 carts more forward. But is it the Golden Slipper curse? Is it that it's going to be a race? It's got speed, but the key factors in the race are going to be those guys midfield. So I think as well, Stay Inside at $7.50. I think I'm going to have a little bet on that race. It won't be a big bet. But then you've got also Remark. So you've got the Arrowfield colt, who you could either say has been really unlucky or just doesn't live up to the hype. I know, like, he's a track work star, but he just finds trouble. He just runs into dead ends. And, you know, bloody Wayne Hawke's talking to his horses. They seem to tell him more what to do than he tells them what to do. So I think Remark will be the one
to find trouble. I don't know if they've chose the right jockey to put on top of it. I don't think that's the way you sort it out. I don't think Huey's your man to avoid trouble on a horse, but
Yeah, look,
we'll see.
that's
Could be original.
well, Tommy Berry suspended. He would have had the right. But yeah, you whack the butcher on, and I think you'll see what happens there. But happy to be proven wrong, but a small bet, I think, on staying inside. But we've got a really good day of racing over at Flemington as well. Kicking us off with the Sofitel, I think we should have a good look at. You got Ayrton, who's a really short price favourite.
Yep.
Sorry, beer o'clock there, guys. $1.75 for him. You saw the first up run. What did you think of that?
Solid. All around solid. I can't fault it, to be honest.
Jamie
Again,
Carr.
it's one of them races. Yeah. It's one of them races that just the favourite looks the one to beat. The price reflects that. It's already $1.80 to $1.65. It's a pretty big crunch at a short price.
$1.65 now, geez, it's coming even more.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to back it. I'll tell you that much now.
Yeah, look, I won't be having a single in this race. If I was going to go anything, I'd probably have it in a multi to spread out over the day, but no big bets on me for that race, mate. Just sit back and watch and see if it lives up to its hype once again.
Well, I've bet on how many flies will be in my lounge room once I finish this podcast, so I'm going to have a bet on the race.
Is that overs or unders?
I think the $1.70, $1.65 now, you've said it's coming even further to, is too short. Butter Chicken for the Beg stable had a really hot trial, finished well. First up, I think Ayrton has the wood over him just because he's Ayrton's second up now. But another one I like at odds, $9, Cherry Tortoni, Patrick Payne stable. We all know he gets his horses shit hot fit to start. That horse isn't going to come into the race underdone. I think Ayrton will sit two back. I think Cherry Tortoni will sit in either that lead pair or one back. And it's just going to be a factor if Ayrton can run it down. It does have the fitness edge, and King Magnus that ran second in Ayrton's last race behind it joins this race again. But I just think now it's sort of more into its prep further on. And I'll take Cherry Tortoni at the $9, but I think Ayrton will be hard to beat.
Yep. Yeah, can't fault that, mate. Have to agree.
Then look, we've got the Maccabi Diva. Typically, really good race leading into these cups. You've got the Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup. We've got the Cox Plate coming up as well. Like most of these horses are nominated, if not dual or triple nominated for all of those races. We see Incentivise come down from Queensland. Peter Moody now taking care. It's on its third jockey change now after the old swingers party at Mornington. What I do to be a fly on the wall there. But
it's a big night from what I heard, mate. Big night.
Yeah. Show me the video when it comes out. That's all I've got to say. Do you think Moody can work his magic on the horse?
I don't, unfortunately. I would have loved to get around it. However, I have led and found myself to Inspirational Girl, number 13, at $6.50.
Bob Peters' horse from the West.
3 from 3 on the distance, 3 from 3 second up. Queries, it's lost Pikey. As we know, he can't travel over to Melbourne. Don't know if that's a good or bad, as I touched on earlier. Yeah, this could be a good thing for it. Great record on good, solid grounds. Hasn't raced at Flemington. That's the query I have. That's really the only query. It's $6.50. I think if it wins here, we won't see it at that price again. It just, to me, it seems the one to beat. There's just the jockey change and the Flemington debut.
Yeah, look, the race is full of like multiple Group 1 winners. Like you've got Dragonet, Mwanga, you got Explosive Jack, who went on that run last year as a 3-year-old, winning all the derbies. It's the thing is though, the thing I see with Incentivise is it'll carry if it wins this race into its Caulfield Cup and Melbourne Cup, it'll get hit by the handicapper. So I just question if Moody's motive is to win the race or just put it in a race just to get it used to the Melbourne way of life, the way the tracks run. there's not much speed in the race. That's the other thing I'm a bit worried about with.
Yeah, that would be one of my worries of Inspirational Girl.
Yeah, you're like Inspirational Girl likes to run on. Sir Dragonet, it's not a leader. You've got a lot of horses there that don't like to sit up on speed. Like it could be Tafane who leads out there, but it's her first crack over the 1600. The Moroni stable seemed to have a flying, but I just think, well, she was up for sale to be a broodmare 6 months ago, and now she had that bit of a stellar Queensland campaign through the winter.
She had something to say about that, it seems.
Didn't want to be a mum just yet.
Yeah,
But I think my bet will be Mo'unga. I think the way he won first up over the 1400 was really arrogant, really. Comes back now as a 4-year-old. He's still got all these bits and tackle. They haven't given him the operation. He's going to be a stallion. So I think he'll be hard to beat again. Second up, comes now to the 1600. But you've also got to look at now, he won't have Tommy Berry on board. He's going down to Melbourne, new jockey, different surroundings. He's not at home. But I think he'll look the winner in the straight for a fair way at Flemington on the big track. It's just if he can finish it off or not there, I think.
Hold it out. Well, mate, hopefully for us, it's him leading and Inspirational Girl coming chasing hard.
Yeah, look, I'll be happy to fight it out 1-2 in the end there. But yeah, best from around the ground for the week though for you guys. I've found one at a little bit of meat on the bone up in Queensland. Race 6, number 7, Ballistic Boy. It's at $2.90 at the moment on Sportsbet. I just think after his first up run there, it was really good a few weeks back, and I just think he'll be really hard to beat, guys. So one to put in your black book there. Ballistic Boy, $2.90. It's not going to buy your house, but hey, when the pubs finally reopen, it might buy you a beer or two, hey?
What a day that'll be, mate. What a day.
Oh, closer and closer. We can only hope, eh? Look, now, let's get into your realm. We know you love your sport. NRL recap.
Guilty?
Tommy Turbo. Was that an immortal season, or what do you think about the way Tommy had his year?
Mate, it went without saying it was. And then, when was it? Was it Saturday they played last week? Sunday?
Yeah, Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Whatever day it was, mate. You know, he's been engraved into immortal status when the GOAT himself, probably on that photo behind you, I'm not too sure, can't see.
Beautiful 1997 there.
He figures out how to open up his iPhone and not use it as a little table service and uploads a photo of Tommy to welcome him to GOAT status. Like, that is one of the greatest seasons I've ever witnessed. And yeah, no words. He's led that Manly team, and he's got the whole team believing as well. Like,
I think without him, they're not a top 8 side. I think
not at the start of the season, no. But since he come back and he's kind of led them and built the belief in him, he can be out now, and you still see him put up a good performance, and they'd still be a top 8 side, especially this year with some very mediocre sides making the 8.
The Tommy factor is there. It's if he's not in the Manly colours, Manly aren't the side they are. It's as simple as that.
Not a chance, mate. Not a chance.
From going to talking about not making finals, your beloved Tigers had a bit of a change this year, though. They did not finish 9th.
We did, mate. We did. Unfortunately, Sportsbet priced us to come 9th exactly at the start of the season at $3. Unfortunately, that bet did not salute, even though it looked a lock. That is our spot. We are used to 9th. This year, we decided to... mate, it's been a tough 15 years now as a Tigers fan.
Been a long time since Paddy Richards and Benji both had on the orange.
The worst part is it doesn't hurt anymore. No Tigers fan gets affected by it. It's just become what it is. You see it coming. Last game of the round, Bulldogs at $2.80. I think I tipped it to every single one of my mates. It's better the round. Tigers had checked out. Like, we had our chance to make the 8 against all odds, only because of what a terrible season it has been for anyone not in the top 4. And just couldn't do it. Couldn't salute. Absolutely awful performance. Don't blame Madge. I hope Madge sticks around. I hope we don't get rid of him.
Well, that was my next question.
At the moment, yeah, I'm not letting him go yet. I don't have a problem with Madge. I think he's done a great job with what he's got. We've freed up cash. We've got, I think I read yesterday, we've got 1.2 million in the cap.
Russell Packers now left as well.
Moses has gone, which I think we're holding on to a bit of his wage, but that's all right.
That's all right. Yeah, there's a lot of back-ended contracts there at the Tigers.
Yeah, and the problem is we've got all this money, but who wants to come to the Tigers at the moment? Why? Like, we've got Dane Laurie. He's a superstar in the making. I pray we hold on to him. But
you got Dewey, Tommy
every other star
Talau.
we've ever had.
Yeah, Dewey, Talau, those young guys.
Core there.
Exactly. Yep. And then hey, I'm a suffering Knights fan, but we've shown we can win 3 spoons in a row, more or less there, and now we're back-to-back finals. And that's the thing. You buy that one core player though, which West Tigers need to go after, and it'll bring those up. You look at the Ponga, the Pierce. They brought the Gueras and the Glasbys, those guys who sort of started to build that culture. We're nobody.
Hey, we might have Pierce next year,
mate. You can have him in my book, but that's all right. That's a story for another day. But look, we've made back-to-back with a 12-12 record in the end.
Awful.
If you said at the start of the year we'd play finals football, I'd believe you. But if you said how we'd make it, I'm glad we're there. But I think this week against the Eels is going to be a really hard one. But we've got Storm and Manly first game to kick off the finals, the big boys.
We do, yes.
How do you see that one?
I've tossed side to side all week. I have belief in Manly. I want Manly to win. I think anyone that isn't a Storm fan wants Manly to win. Bit of a question around Munster's fitness of his knee. I think he'll play. I don't think Bellamy wants them to slip up here. There's questions about Storm, their form, their results. I'm not really buying it. I think they're way too good of a side to what people are starting to think, just because they lost to the Eels in a game that, other than for an all-time record, like, it really didn't mean anything to the Storm.
Records like that don't win premierships, really.
Nah. I think it's going to be tight. I think Manly are going to put up a good fight. I just think Storm have too much experience in key positions. I think they're going to edge this one by around the 8-point mark. No bet for me. Game of the round, in my opinion. No, this is game of the round, in my opinion, and I am just going to sit back and watch. Storm may go into a few moldies, but no official bet for me on this one, mate.
Then we got the Roosters.
How do you see this one?
Me? I see it more or less the same as you. I see the Storm. They're built for September football. And I think they've been built that way for a very long time. And they've lost Cronk, they've lost Inglis, they've lost Smith, they've lost Slater. All those guys have been and gone. But now all the young guys like your Brandon Smiths, your Munsters, your Pappenhausen's back. Even Nico Hines, even though it's his last year there, he's just been unveiling. But it's through injuries that he's had his time to shine. And I just think the Storm will be too hard. But from the Storm, now you've got the Roosters reserve grade side up against the Titans.
You do.
Titans come off the back of a good win.
Players, though.
They do. Titans come off the back of a big win last week. Roosters, look, what they've done this year, I take my hat off to them. Each week they've just showed up, put out, and they've got the results at the end of the day. And that's all. They were unlucky not to finish fourth. I think if they had like the Keary effect, they haven't had Keary all year. They've had a young bloke.
He's even there.
Exactly. I think the Roosters get over the top of them. How do you see it?
Yep, exact same, mate. I don't like the price. I think the Roosters win, but $4 for the Titans for a team that have shown on their day can put 30, 40 past most teams. That part worries me. But then the problem with the Titans is their defense, and we know that's awful. Roosters have won 7 of 7 against the Titans in the last 7 games. Teddy has scored 5 tries in 5 games of his last 5 finals appearances. Victor Radley back to throw that quick short ball to Teddy. I'm taking Tedesco anytime try scorer, $2.10 on Sportsbet. I think Teddy is built, like you said about Storm, Teddy's built for the finals. It's been a bit quiet this year on the try scoring front, but I think he's also a very undervalued player. But when he's not scoring tries, no one realises the amount of work he's putting in on both sides of the field. I think it's time for him to step up. I think Teddy crosses the line. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets 2, to be honest. But anytime, $2.10 sports bet.
$2.10. That's good price there for Teddy. Look, I like Victor the Inflictor. He's back. I love the brand of football he plays. And I just think that rough through the middle there, they're just going to get the Titans and get them well. I'm going to take the Roosters 13 plus at $2.
Yep.
So I will. Then look, we've got arguably the side that had that run at the start of the year from the end of last year. Hadn't lost a regular season game since Moses played halfback for Jerusalem, up against South, the Wayne Bennett top 4 side that they've sort of been a bit underrated, I feel. They've just sort of gone through their gears and to finish 3rd on the table.
Yeah, look, Souths, they love bashing up small guys. They have struggled when they've come up against your Melbournes and your Penriths this year, though. They have not. They kept it close for a little bit against Penrith last game. Overall, though, it was never really a worry. Penrith are missing quite a few players that game as well. Cleary back. Cleary's lost 1 game in the last 2 seasons while playing for Penrith, and that was the grand final last year. Not a bad record. Penrith have every player back now. You're welcome back, your To'os. You've got your bloody Pangai Jr. now as well.
Yeah, that was a very good mid-season pick up there.
Yeah.
I
They're just going strength to strength.
I did used to put him on his ass, though, when he played for the under-10 South Lions. Shout out to Vita on that one.
Maybe after he already ran over you. I reckon he already ran over you and then he accidentally tripped over your body on the ground.
Mate, I was cutting up the oranges on the sideline. I wasn't even on the same field. And don't have to worry about that one.
I think this will be a tight game. I don't think Souths will score that many points. No Latrell is a massive loss. I do like Milne coming in for him. Not the same player. Not for a big game like this. You need that Latrell mongrel. Unfortunately, they lost him. It was a dodgy tackle attempt, but 10 years ago, we're probably celebrating that. That's good old Tari footy right there. I don't mind watching it, but you don't want anyone getting hurt at the same time. So fair's fair. My bet for the game is going to be a little same game on Sportsbet. Penrith to win into an alternate total line of under 50.5 at $2.
It's not bad at all. And Sunday, we see the mighty Newcastle Knights up against their 2001 grand final foes, Parramatta. Newcastle back-to-back finals here. Para sort of lost their way a bit mid-season, but they've found a little bit of form towards the end. What do you see with the mighty Knights here?
Firstly, shout out to V'landys for putting an absolutely boring, awful game on a Sunday arvo for us all to have a nap to. I do not want to watch this. I probably won't watch this. The only thing going for it is there's an Arvo Sport on Sunday arvo. Both sides are awful. I really do not enjoy watching either. Knights were fun at the start of the season. I don't know what happened to them. They now look like they're scared to attack. But in credit to them, their defense has picked up. Knights have one side of attack. We all know that. Their left-hand side, cut out balls from Pearce, cut out balls from Ponga. And Chihuahua has started to look like a great winger, which he is not. But when you get your ball put on a platter, then you get a try. Coming up against a defensive edge of Fergo and Walker Blake, I think that left side of the Knights is going to have a fun day. Too much attention on Bradman Best every single time he plays. Fergo loves to chop in. They'll all be focused on Bradman Best. Ponga will take a little step inside, flick a ball over, Chihuahua will cross the line, and they're getting $2 on Sportsbet for him to score.
$2 for Chihuahua. That's not a bad odds there at all. I think Fergo now, Eels have told him he's not going to have a club next year. He's now playing for a contract, really. So I think Fergo is going to be in for a big game. I think it'll be a tight one. Newcastle's defense, arguably, they've scored the second least amount of points outside the Bulldogs, which is their problem. But I think their defense can hold solid. And if we can hold the Eels to say under that 14, 16 points, I think it'll be a really good contest. My heart says Knights, but my head says Eels. So I'm going to stay out of this one altogether. My bet
Yeah,
for the
fair call.
weekend, though, I'm going to take Penrith and the Roosters both to win by 13, and that's at $4. So I won't be having big stake, but a cheeky little redback on that $4. I think you could spend $20 worse ways this week.
Yep. Fair call, mate. Fair call.
Have you got a best bet of the round there at all?
Not for the NRL, no. I do really like Tuala. Saying it's my best bet in a night's side. A bit dicey. That would be my pick of the round for the NRL, but yeah, not oozing with confidence. But if anyone's going to score for the Knights, I think it is Tuala.
Tuala to score. Well, moving on to the AFL, we've got the grand final qualifiers. We've got Melbourne up against Geelong and Port Adelaide against the Dogs. Who do you see getting the flag this year?
I think it's the winner of the Demons Geelong game, which I have Melbourne in a tight one. Melbourne have looked good all season. We've all been waiting for them to fall, all been waiting for them to choke a bit. They just haven't. They've kept on kicking on. Good solid performance against Geelong last time they turned out in that final quarter. Up until then, the first 3 quarters, can't say the same. Geelong looked to have the game absolutely wrapped up at 3/4 time. And the Demons come back from, I think it was about 44 in 1 quarter. To me, that's where you get your confidence from. They match up again 3 weeks later. I think Demons are going to be confident. I think they're going to run over Geelong. The minute Geelong go behind, I think they're going to start questioning themselves, doubt creeps into their mind from the last time they met. My bet for the game, I've taken Melbourne to win, Tom Hawkins to kick a goal for Geelong. I do think they'll score a couple. Hawkins is one of your main 2 men. He's kicked a goal in 21 out of 24 games this season. It's not a bad record. And Clayton Oliver to have 25 plus disposals for Melbourne, which he has done 22 out of 24 games this year. All up, you get $2 even on Sportsbet for them 3 legs. And if you're not promo banned, which you degenerates better not be yet, you'll get a bonus back for 1 leg fail, which isn't going to happen because we're going to win, but keep it in mind.
Yeah, I like Melbourne in that one too. Second game of the weekend, look, you've got Koshy's Port Adelaide up against the Western Bulldogs. Bailey Smith, my favourite player in the league, that luscious mullet for the Doggies. How do you see this one? Dogs get the win or?
I don't think so. I was against them last week, I will be honest. I had Lions 1-39. Had the close part of the game right, but yeah, come down to, I think it was 71 all or 78 all with 40 seconds to go and a measly behind to separate it, and Dogs take the win. Credit to the Dogs. They look to have kind of fallen off. They lost a couple of attacking players, and of all players to benefit from that, Bailey Smith was the man. He stepped up and he's been in red hot form. I've taken the unders in this game. The line set at 157.5. It's only gone over that one time out of the last 5 meetings between these 2 sides. I think it's going to be a very tight, very defensive and slow game. Port have shown they can slow games down whenever they want and drag it out. So I've got a same game multi of under 157.5 into McRae 25 plus disposals. He's cleared that every single game he's played this year. That just boosts it from $1.90 to $2.10 for something that has a 100% record this year. So $2.10 for under 157.5 total points and McRae 25 plus disposals. About yourself, mate?
I think it'll be a tight game. I'm just going to take Bailey Smith, anytime goal scorer, $2.25, just for the fact of his haircut. Like, we're doing mullets for awareness at the moment. He's rocking a luscious version. And I just think a little bit of mongrel in him from the Dogs, and Bailey Smith at $2.25 is a nice bet there.
Yeah, okay, all right. Your mullet man, who would have thought?
Mate, I've got no hair to start with, so I'm envious of those that have. But that's our ball sports from Australia wrapped up for the week. I reckon we trip around the world all the way over to lovely England town.
Yeah, mate. Well, we can't get over there at the moment, so let's get over there.
The EPL's into round 4 this week. Tottenham lead the table. Tottenham lead and Arsenal sit dead last. Break it down.
You love to see it, mate. You love to see it. Yes. as usual, a couple of shock results to start the season. Doesn't really catch anyone off. Everyone knows the season doesn't start till City are at the top. Which we're getting there. First game in the round is Palace and Spurs. At a first glance, Spurs looked great odds. 3 wins from 3 starts. Unfortunately, they're missing their 2 centre-backs, so they picked up injuries on international duties in the last week. So I have chosen to stay away from that game. My first bet will come in the United-Newcastle game. Very exciting game. Can't believe I'm saying that against United, but it looks like Ronaldo will make his return, whether it's for 5 minutes or a whole game, no one's really sure. Either way, that team's going to benefit from that. United are averaging 2.3 goals per game and 6.5 corners a game. So I've taken a build your own bet on 365 of United to score 2 or more goals and have 5 or more corners at $1.50. Not great odds, won't lie. But that to me will be going in most multis this weekend. My second bet will come in the City versus Leicester game. I'm taking City to have 1+ goal, averaging 3.33 a game, and 6+ corners, averaging 10.33 a game. That's probably my pick of the round for the EPL this week. $1.90 on 365 for those 2. Third of 4 picks, Arsenal versus Norwich. Who would have thought it'd be nearly a bottom of the table clash with Arsenal involved? But again, you love to see it. Arsenal versus Norwich over 9.5 corners, $1.90 on Neds and Tab with the same odds. Arsenal games are averaging 12.66 corners a game, and Norwich games are averaging 13 a game. So the over 9.5 seems pretty decent value to me at $1.95. We'll wrap up the round on a Monday morning game, I believe it is. Leeds versus Liverpool. I think this will be a cracker. Always is. 2 absolute iconic sides in the league. It should be a really good game. I've taken, again, another bet builder. Liverpool to score 2 or more goals. They're averaging 2 a game. Leeds are averaging to concede 2.6 a game. And Liverpool to have 5+ corners. They're averaging 10 a game, and Leeds are conceding an average of 5 corners per game. For those 2+ goals, 5+ corners, we're getting $2.20 on Bet365. And that's my 4 picks for the EPL this round.
A good little meat on the bone in all those picks there, really. It's good to see that Arsenal are where they belong, right down the bottom. And I'm sure that you'll be liking City start to claw their way back to the top.
Slow start, mate. We'll get there.
Look, there's not much other world sport on this week other than the WSL finals. It's the first year we see this new format of sort of an elimination top 5 at Trestles. Look, we've got local boy Morgan Siblick, first year on tour.
Oh, yeah.
He's made the finals, all in 5th position. But look, you can win from anywhere.
It was 500 to 1 at the start of the season, and he's now into a measly 20 to 1 out of his top 5. Not saying he'll win, but hey, you'd be getting pretty excited if you cashed in on a couple 500 to 1 tickets.
Imagine how many Steel Cities you could buy with that, hey?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Nothing but the best for the local juice. Look, in this one, I'm going to stay away from the men's. I'm going to go to the women's side of the draw. Carissa Moore going for a 5th world title now. I think she gets it, and I think she gets it quite comfortably. She's just so well-rounded for the women's game, she wouldn't look out of place in the men's side of the draw. She's not scared to go large waves. She's got the rail game. She's got the cheer riding ability. She's just well-rounded, and I think her to win is too short. So I think my bet's going to be on Steph Gilmore to beat Joanne Defay in the first round at $1.65. Like, it's not going to pay the mortgage off, but I think as an anchor into a couple of other things over the weekend, I think that Steph's class will just surpass Joanne there, and the big stage is where she stands up best. What about you, mate? Like anything in the men's side of the draw at all?
Mate, at the start of the season, I was very against this format. Just couldn't fathom anyone that wasn't top of the leaderboard after an entire season not winning a world title. I don't know if it's because now we do have Morgs with a shot that I'm all for it, or I'm just that bored in lockdown that I can't wait to get up at midnight and watch 3 to 4 foot sets roll through trestles. We're looking at forecast is a bit dicey. It does look like it's going to be around your 3 to 4 foot mark at trestles, which is pretty common. Looks like it's going to be offshore in the morning, but turn onshore in the Arvo. So we could see that air game in the men's come really to show in the Arvo. Predominantly will be rights. The lefts at trestles are pretty average. They taper off and you don't get any big finishes, which the judges love. For the men's side, I don't love anything. I want Morgs to win. The whole of Australia does. That will be monumental. Lockdown rules will surely be lifted just for that if he does.
Yeah, I think the boys at the Swellian will have something to say on that. The old Blake brothers.
Yes, so I'm going to take Felipe to win in a very small bet at $6 on Sportsbet. He gets the advantage, in my opinion, of not being in that top 2 seeds. He's going to have what most would call the softest roll in against either Connor or Morgs. Not saying it's going to be an easy heat, but stats-wise. So he's going to have that kind of warm-up heat. If he gets through that, he meets Italo. Italo, I don't think, will perform at trestles, which is hard to say because it's Italo and that man can do things that no one thought would be achievable on a surfboard. Felipe's moved to Cali. He surfs trestles is one of his home breaks. His 4 home breaks that he calls. I just can't see 3 to 4 foot right hand. It's just Felipe's to lose, in my opinion. Once he gets through that, he meets Gabby. Gabby's going to be a lot harder of a matchup. I think he has a lot better of a backhand game than what Italo does. Italo, he just catches too many waves, in my opinion. Trestles can slow down a lot when your set's coming through. I don't know if the strategy that Italo took at Merriweather, for example, where he caught, I think, 22 waves in a heat, he's not going to have the chance to do that at trestles. If he does do that, he's going to probably miss the best waves at a set. Felipe's going to capitalize and get through. Once he gets through that, it's going to be close to $1.90 each way between him and Medina. So I'm going to purely take the value early and get $6 for Felipe. Yeah, it's going to be tight. I think it's a best of 3 series for that final between him and Gabby. Felipe in 2015 had a semi with Gabby. 2017, Felipe won the event. Gabby got a 13th. So stats-wise, Felipe looks pretty good at trestles. $6, I'm going to take him. Do what you want with it. My confident pick, I know you said it's too short, but $1.53 for Carissa to win the women's is free money. There is not a girl in this world that can match Carissa, especially on a right hand, not point break, but it acts like a point break at trestle sometimes. We don't have to worry about an air game really in the women's side of things. But then if it was an air game, she's one of the best on tour anyway, so that'll do it. I think Steph will make a deep run. I don't know if she'll get past Tatiana. If she does, she's going to start to be tanked. You get a fresh Carissa. I think that'll be over in 2 heats. $1.53, that will be my confident pick of the round for surfing. So yeah, Carissa and Felipe, both to win the event.
Yeah, I think the factor of that number 1 seed being fresh will play a lot into it as well.
Carissa is the only woman out of these 5 to have won an event at trestles too.
And there's even more reason. But I think, yeah, as you said, like by the time, if you're coming from that bottom seed, like local boy Morgs, Steph Gilmore, those kinds of people, they can surf. But if you do claw your way up that ladder, by the time you come towards the end, your arms are going to be jelly. It's only so much you can do to get there. I think the guys that are favourites for a reason. But if you can find that early value around a guy like Philippe, I think it's crazy not to have a little bit of a stab in the dark. Well, now, guys, we've had a wrap around. We've seen what's on the weekend. We've tried to give you an idea of where you can spend some money. But now we're going to tell you where we're going to spend our money. We're going to call this the Flukes 50. We're going to put $50 in the kitty each week. if it's your turn in a punters club, if you're just sitting on the lounge, if there's nothing else for you to do, you've got a spare bit of coin from Gladys at the moment. Look, we're just going to do $50 a week, 2 legs a
Maybe we can
piece.
get Gladys on here for a celebrity tip one time.
I think there's a few more things I'd like to say to Gladys before I get her to have a tip, but we'll leave that for another day. Look, 2 legs a piece we're going to do. We're just after a little bit of a bank builder for when we can travel, when we can go out, when I can bloody walk to the shops. Just things like that. We're just going to do that for you guys. So, Mitch, what are your 2 legs you've got for this week's 50?
Yeah, mate. My short one, but absolute lock is Carissa to win the women's. Just went over it. I just can't see anyone beating it over 3. If it was over 1 heat, I probably would have steered clear. She may drop 1 heat, but having that chance to drop a heat and still win the other 2 and win the world title, it's Carissa's to lose, and she's not going to do that. My second leg is my boys, Manchester City, to score 1+ goal and have at least 6 corners at $1.90.
And
$1.90 bets.
Look, mine, I've stuck to what I know. It's the ponies. Race 2 at Flemington sees Artorias now, second up. Blue Diamond winner from last year's 2-year-old season. He lost no admirers first up. He was over the 1200 on a tighter track last time. He comes up now, second up to the 1400. Anthony and Sam Friedman have him in tip-top shape. I think he's just going to be way too hard to beat. I think he's around the $1.85 price at the moment. I find him a pretty good anchor there. And I've actually gone Australian Bloodstock horse for my second leg. Shout out to the local guys.
The way to my heart.
Mate, I know they're trying to get a couple of horses in the Kosciuszko at the moment, which the draw was just done before we recorded this podcast. And a man from Belmont actually won a slot. So hopefully the boys...
telling me my $5 sweepstake hasn't won.
We have not won. But hopefully Cody Morgan up there in Tamworth with the Bloodstock boys can have a runner, or at least one runner, maybe 2. I know they've got 3 that they really want focused on. They've got a hot horse up there, Edit, at the moment. And I know it hasn't had a run in Australia yet, but it's got a great turn of foot from footage, and the guys have a real strong opinion of it. But back to the tip, I've gone to Doom and race 9. Their horse Animate to place. And I think it was $3.20 when we put the multi on for that place. I think it gets to the $13.50 now. It's on the bigger track at Doomben. It's just a classy horse. It had some time in Sydney. It's been to Queensland, where it is now at the moment. And I just think big horse, big track, $13.50, undefeated at the distance. I think that'll be my 2 legs this weekend. So what odds do we get on that one in the end, Mitchie?
We're using Bet365 for that one so that we can do the little bet builder for the City game. We're getting 16.38 right now.
So the return on our 50
is 819 all up, mate. So we'll get that one up on the gram, so that everyone can follow along and place, laugh, do whatever you want, really. But that's where our money's going. So
exactly, guys. Always though, bet responsibly. Bet in your means. It's something we can't stress hard enough. Don't chase what you can't afford, especially in these times. We do it all lighthearted. We're here for a good bit of fun. But don't forget, check us out on Instagram at Purepunterspoddy. On YouTube is the same tag, and you guys will be listening to this on our streaming service, which we will tag through all our socials as well. That was our first one there, Mitchie. The cobwebs are blown out.
All done, mate. All done.
The pre-game jitters are gone.
Well, I think this is a bit shorter than your usual 4-hour phone chat we have every Thursday anyway, so it might be easier in the future.
I've always been told I've had a good head for radio, so I'll just stick to listening.
You decided to put this on YouTube instead.
Yeah, I'll just stick to the podcast. You can view your beautiful jawline there, mate. But thanks heaps, guys, for listening.
What a nice little touch up this morning.
Yeah, I do see that there. Had a bit of a surf incident with a headbutt.
Yeah, it's like the headbutt me board this morning, mate.
That's all right. There's been a good bit of waves, but no, thanks heaps, guys, for listening. Join along. Let us know if there's things you like, things you don't like, anything you want to see added. We'll have a few guys on in the next few weeks in their their little niche markets, which would be nice.
Yes. We've got quite a few good guests lined up.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll have a few more to come. But don't forget, guys, share it around. We'll have a giveaway soon as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And best of luck
Probably
on the
Knights
weekend.
jerseys after this league.
That'll be too expensive by the time grand final comes around, mate.
All right.
Always
Enjoy,
a
guys.
pleasure, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
Out.